What do you make of the market reaction to the news that this may be more incremental rather than coming in one big hit when it comes to the tariffs?
Good morning, Guy. I think you're absolutely right there in how you phrased it. This just shows the jitteriness of this market. There's been an outsized reaction to a story that really shouldn't be given much credibility in a normal world, but we're not in a normal world. We're in a world which is entirely down to the whim of an incoming president who has promised many different things at various points, and we really have maximum uncertainty about what will deliver. The overnight story, it's important to emphasize that it's a report of one idea being discussed, and as you emphasized there, Guy, this is just the early stages, not even ready to be presented to Trump. The second thing is, this is a completely stupid policy. One of the things about tariffs, apart from the cost, is that the lack of certainty for businesses and the lack of ability to have confidence in their supply chain and to plan ahead. To have this thing where costs are going to continuously be changing, they have to change their prices, they might have to adapt further in the future, depending how far the escalation goes, would be a crazy strategy. So I'd be surprised if it go ahead. And in line with the trend we've seen so far, given that it has not been presented to Trump yet, I would assume that just the normal pattern of these affairs the last few weeks is that we hear a story and then we hear a knockback the other way. That is not with any inside knowledge of what Trump thinks, obviously, or what the administration thinks. But that's just the normal presentation of these themes at the moment under the incoming Trump administration. An idea is floated, then it is pushed back. An idea is floated, then it's pushed back. These are markets that are jittery, and I think it's worrying how far we've gone here. I'm not sure it's sustains.
Well, Mark, let's say this idea does come to fruition. Explore the hypothetical with me, if you can, for just a moment. Is it viewed as a dovish take that this is a gradual move and therefore not a shock to the system, the way that a 20% increase all at once may be? Or do you view it as a hawkish take, given that a 20% increase, hypothetically, that he's put forward on Fox News, for example, is still less than a 2% increase every month times 12 months, which is 24%. How are you thinking about this? Is this a dovish take or a hawkish idea?
I think it's a dovish take for the dollar. So first of all, I think the dollar is getting a lot of its strength on a variety of reasons around tariffs. And I think some of the analysis there is a little bit flawed. But most importantly, the shock impact would be positive for the dollar. So I think the softer approach would be negative for the dollar and be positive for the rest of the world. I think the cost for businesses is worse for U.S. companies in this maximum uncertainty situation rather than the price shock relative to other businesses. So I think it's worse for U.S. companies relative to other companies, which is why I'd be very surprised if it proceeds. In terms of the impact on yields, ironically, which is I think what you're most focused on, I actually think it's more of an inflationary impact because you just got ongoing increases rather than one adjustment, one shift in approach. So hawkish for yields, dovish for dollar. I know that sounds confusing, but bad for U.S. companies relative to the rest of the world, and that's why I think it's ultimately unlikely.